the meeting of the Marine Activity Advisory Committee and welcome everyone that's present. I want to thank John once again for taking over in February. And I'm sorry that I found it necessary. I just want everyone to know that I did consult with John Latham before I decided on the March meeting to be postponed or canceled. We didn't have anything in the way of for the agenda, any issues that were pressing. And I think I only got one or two. So I went ahead and I did cancel that meeting. So we're here today and it is April. And I'm glad to see everyone's pretty face out there. I'm going to try to keep this to an hour, and I added additional things to our agenda, but we're going to try to get through that. So let's take a look at the agenda. So I'll start with John and ask John, do we have a quorum if we need to vote on anything today?
Yes, we do.
Thank you. And then I did submit an agenda, and I will, first of all, I want to amend the agenda as to new business. In addition to the two items I have under new business, the third item I will discuss today will be the 2025 Volunteer Appreciation Dinner. The fourth thing I would like to discuss today is just a draft that I received regarding committee protocols and information. I'm just going to mention it and it'll probably come up later. I'm going to add to this Sue. I had emailed her. There were people that contacted me at the executive board meeting that wanted specific information. Also, I will be calling upon Ken. There were people who asked for specific information. And I did already reach out to Ken and to Sue, but we can go over that. Yeah, okay. And then the season kickoff, I want to mention that. And I also would like to give you a summary of our executive board meeting. So those are going to be short and sweet. I promise you very much. Anyone else have any corrections or additions to the agenda for today? Sue?
I just had one correction on the season kickoff. It says May 7th on the agenda. It should be May 17th
Where did I have that?
in here.
Okay, yeah, it is. Okay.
It's May 17th and it's also going to be at the Veterans Memorial this time.
Okay, so I'll get to that. Okay, thank you so much. Anyone else have anything to add to the agenda or to corrections? Having here no one, can I have a motion to approve the agenda? John, do I have a second? Michael J. Thank you very much. The minutes, you all received a copy of the minutes from Sue. I will not say Susan, Sue,
On the 8th.
February the 18th. And she sent those out on the 8th of this month.
Mhm.
I hope everyone had an opportunity to review the minutes. If you did not, would you raise your hand? So I know you need a couple of minutes. Michael, you need to read them? Mike, did you review the minutes?
Yes, I did. I have them right in front of me. I'm looking at them. I apologize. I keep turning my microphone off.
Okay. Were there any additions or corrections from anyone that was present? Michael R. said thumbs up. Anyone
I did
else?
not see it.
Okay. Having heard no corrections, I would ask for a motion to approve the minutes from February the 18th of 2025. Do I have a motion? John and Michael J.
So
has
moved.
seconded. Sue, do you have anything to add to the water testing project update other than we'll hear something later?
What do you mean? We'll hear something.
We don't have any final results yet, right?
Oh, no, we're going to continue it.
Okay.
I met with Taylor briefly last week, Taylor Swanson from ACT, and we're going to continue. We're going to start up again in May. We made some minor changes, but we'll continue with Michael Alpa, John Cascio and myself.
And you said
And-
Dave dropped out?
He said, he couldn't participate.
That's- yeah.
Then that's fine. I'm gonna pick up his kit, what's left of his kit.
Okay, well, I was gonna ask if
Yeah.
you need someone
Yeah.
else to join the
But-
group.
No, I think we're good. We're just gonna continue with our testing every 2 weeks, starting in May, and then we'll have final results after that.
Thanks. John, your report, I know you indicated you sent us a copy of whatever that's called.
I sent everybody the sign.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
Really cool.
the sign.
Mhm.
Last I heard, it was in Linda Martin's office and the QR code didn't work. Even though it worked on what I got, when I clicked on it, it was fine, but for some reason, when they transferred it to the sign, it didn't work and they had to redo it, or I don't know what they do with it. And, that was the last I heard. I contacted John Latham this week for an update. And he said, as far as he was told, they're starting to work on the marina now. I mean, I check all the time. I walk across. You know, they're getting ready for preparations to start the marina, and that's part of their spring work. So I kind of made a suggestion of where to put it, and see what happens. We have no real say in where it goes. I suggested on the boardwalk somewhere between B and C or C and D, so people could see it.
But not necessarily down where we have our
Yeah,
page.
because nobody will
Okay.
really walk
will.
up there. Yeah, 10 people will. Yeah, nobody will really see it there, so I suggested a more prominent spot. And I'm not really allowed to talk to anybody about it, so
Meaning employees of.
yeah,
both
I'm trying to
funds.
follow the rules. So once it goes up, my plan is to take a picture and I'll send it to everybody. And I don't know if it's appropriate, but maybe if we could, once it goes up, if we can take a picture of it and see if you can
Yeah.
maybe do a little thing to put in
Yeah, this weekend.
this week in the Pines, just to tell everybody that here it is and you know what we're doing.
Thank
So
you.
I hope the game plan was by Memorial Day. So I think we're still on schedule.
All right, anyone have any questions? For John? Hearing none, comments from the residents, Mike?
I have nothing, as of this morning, no requests or inquiries.
Thank you very much. John, did you want to add anything today for parliamentary procedure?
No, we're good.
All right. So we're going to start with all unfinished business, and I noticed in the minutes, there was a conversation about the Delaware Indian River Restoration Project. I went back in my notes. I'm going to ask Ken, did you have an opportunity to contact them? And is it worth it for our group to invite them to our meeting? Or should we consider inviting any other advisory committee regarding this particular project? Ken?
It's no longer relevant. The NOAA just cut 60% of their grant funding, and they're not sure if they're going to continue to exist.
Okay. Thank you for that update. Looks like I have the Ocean Pines Expo under both old and new business, and we'll take it right now under old business. Sue is correct. It's going to be held May the 17th from 11 to 3. And it will be at the, what do they call that now? The Veterans Park?
Veterans Memorial.
Okay, at the
I
Veterans
think that-
Memorial Park. I look back in my minutes. I don't know if we voted on whether or not we were going to participate. I think we discussed it. And we need to complete our registration, which is a 2-page registration, and that needs to be forwarded to Gary Miller. Or I think Linda Yurchi?
Yeah, she's the community.
She's the committee chairperson for communications, so either one of those needs to be contacted, and I'm asking for a volunteer to do that. I will be glad to send you the committee registration form and just ask that you email that. Is there a volunteer? Sue has volunteered, so Mike, did you volunteer? Or did you scratch?
No, I unfortunately would not be able to do that.
Okay,
I'm just unfortunately spending too much time in Baltimore trying to get this
I
stuff
know.
done over here.
I know. And we're thinking about you and your wife, Mike. So I have some bad news. I will be at the University of Wisconsin that weekend at Eau Claire for my granddaughter's graduation. I will not be present. But I do know that Sue has all of the exhibits that we had from last year. And we're going to be given a table, so we should be good to go. And I feel that our committee's in good hands with Sue stepping in. Anyone else? We're probably going to want to set up a schedule at some point of who can be present. And we're not going to force you. You know, if you can give us an hour, we would be really happy. If you can give us more than an hour, that would be even better. And it's a fun to walk around. Ken and I had a good time last year walking around and getting all kinds of freebies that day. So, Sue, you have a comment?
Yeah, I just started making up a list of things, you know, they're encouraging us to do some handouts if we can. I mean, everybody's being encouraged, all the clubs and everything. So I thought maybe it might be a good idea if we just had a small handout with some of the resources that people like this, you know, the Notice to Mariners, how to, you know, what that link is, what kind of clubs, you know, other related clubs there are in Ocean Pines, like the Anglers Club and, you know, and other, you know, how to get a fishing license. Do you need a fishing license to, you know, those kinds of things. And there's the
Yeah, remember
the
that.
swim cards are available from Coastal Trust. And so we can get those. I just wanted to let everybody know, you know, Joe Jankowski, I don't know if everyone knows, but it's had a horrible time the last month. His wife passed away, and my friend Gail. And so I've kind of like, you know, not pushed, but I'm hoping that Joe is going to be able to, you know, be with us and the environmental committee to, you know, talk or answer questions about the oyster restoration. So I think we've got enough. I'm going to, you know, put a list together. I can just send it out.
Just send it out.
And send it out to everybody to see if they want to add anything. I just think it'd be good for us as a committee to have, you know, just let people know resources that are available here.
Okay.
DNR, Coast Guard, everything. So,
I unfortunately will be in that weekend, so I won't be there either. Last year, I had a conference every year for my consultant,
Right.
and it was the same as last year. It was
It was same-
the week
same
after-
dates.
It was the same. I couldn't make it last year, so.
All right.
I won't be here.
All right. So Sue will be sending an email out with some suggestions. She'll probably be asking for your suggestions. Please let her know if you are available that day so that we can set up some type of a schedule. And then any other ideas for handouts. Sue, does that sound good?
mhm. Yep. We're gonna, I mean, we'll be able, as a committee, we'll get a table. We don't have to pay for it. So I'll just, you know, they know the application's coming.
Well, he contacted me and asked me to get back to him. And I said, I just want to check with
Yeah.
our committee that
He
we're
knew we
still
were meeting
doing it.
today. Yeah,
All right.
got it. Okay.
Okay. Any other comments or questions regarding the kickoff?
Something that came up at the Environment and Natural.
Oh,
Asset,
yeah.
They had Bay Day
The very next
The very
day.
next
I
day.
know.
so they had to pick one.
And they picked that one, right?
No, they
And
didn't
they
pick
picked ours.
kickoff, yes.
And Sue, let's follow up with that. They're interested in maybe putting a table next to us. if we
Yeah,
can.
that's what we had last year and that worked out
So-
really well, I think.
And I don't like always asking you to do it, but do you feel comfortable contacting them and verifying that we're going to work together that day or be next to each other?
Sure. Or have you?
John, I mean, Mike, did you
do a
want to do that?
relationship with them or you just attended the meeting or, you know?
I attended a meeting, but they're very friendly people.
They
They're
are.
very
Yeah.
easy to talk
Because
to.
then.
And if you want me to discuss
Together?
working together,
All right, thank
that'd
you,
be
Mike.
great.
That's good, thank you. Okay, I'm going to summarize the executive board meeting. I don't know why I have this idea that I need to stand when I address everyone today, but I'm going to go alphabetically through the committees and just highlight some of the things that they are doing. So you can see exactly what the other committees are up to. And some of the things are, well, one committee in particular sort of mirrors our projects. So the Aquatics Advisory Board Committee, they are looking at upgrading things at both the Swim and Racket Club. Also the Mumford Pool. there are a lot of things that they're doing, so they're doing a good job of looking at the needs, looking at safety and moving forward to try to get additional signs and different things made available so people can see what they need to do. I forget what equipment, I think they were talking about the steps that go in and out of the pool at the swim and racket club. It isn't just a matter of making signs and putting them up, but because it's a commercial pool, it requires specific commercial equipment. So they're looking into that. I think they're working with the board on that. They had like 5 pages. I had 1. They had 5.
I watched it. You should say it's easy watching. It's only 2.5 films.
Oh,
Interesting.
yeah.
Very interesting to watch.
The Architectural Review Committee is in the process of reviewing architectural guidelines. Michael Galello is a co-chairman. He did the presentation. He was so informative. We learned things that I never really realized before. If you have an opportunity, you can review that on Teams. It was really quite interesting. They're looking to streamline permits, addressing he referred to them as soft spots in the existing guidelines, considering modern fencing materials for the board to review and approve, and they continue to conduct variance and exceptions hearings. So if you have an opportunity, take a look at that meeting. It was, his report was fascinating to me. Questions? Ocean Pines
Got it.
budget.
Got it.
Yeah,
It's interesting
question?
you mentioned about the Architectural Review Committee, because Gail and I had an opportunity to sit in on one of their meetings for a variance we applied for. And I will tell you, they go very in depth to make a decision on what they will approve or not approve. So it was very informative for us in the learning process we were going through. Thank God we did get approved. So, but it's interesting you mentioned that. Thank you.
The next committee that spoke was Doug Parks. He's the chair for the Budget and Finance Committee. We did receive an email from him earlier, a few months ago, I think, asking each of the committees to review the resolution C-03. We had no suggestions, and in fact, no changes were made because no one had any suggestions. I'll mention him again. Bylaws and Resolution Committee, they continue to emphasize on the scheduled review of resolutions in order to maintain them current in our in the association. And then he gave a great deal of information in his report in section 6 of his recommendations. So again, I would direct you to review the meeting, which, by the way, was on Thursday, March the 28th. It was at 7 p.m. So you can read that. Communications Advisory Committee. She was focusing, that's Linda, she's the chair. Linda and Gary both talked about the season kickoff and again asked me if we intended to attend. They're doing something, I don't remember, they're doing something or they just started something they call Recognizing Good Neighbors. And they want to do that. I think they're going to do that
Very
monthly.
important.
So for every board meeting, they want to do that. Elections Committee, I don't know if any of you received the Ocean Pines Forum or are a member of that. There's a critical article in there. I saw it today regarding the Elections Committee. 2 members had resigned and they have at least 1 new member on their committee. They didn't really provide much information beyond that at this point. Patricia Brenner is, I believe she's the chair, at least she was in charge at that meeting, Environments and Natural Assets. She was interested. Sue, if you can do me a favor,
Mhm.
if, I'll give you her contact information. If you could pull the minutes from January, and I told her they were online, but maybe we could send them to her directly. There were some issues or topics we discussed at that meeting, and she was interested in those things, so. Just remind me today before you leave.
Okay.
Golf Advisory Committee, a lot of information. And, but one of the things I thought was interesting, Ocean Pines Lady Golf Association contributed $8,975 to the AGH Foundation. Every year we hold the Pink Ladies event. This year it will be October the 8th. So he just wanted to focus on that and thank the group. He also mentioned that as of today, there are 70 members of the Ocean Pine Ladies Golf Association. I know, I didn't say anything about the men, but I focused on that. Marine Activities Advisory Committee, I shared with them everything we were doing, and I thought it was interesting how many of our projects, one of the other committees had started to pick up, and that's okay, because we can overlap and we can do it together, right? Let's see, this is the Recreation and Parks Advisory Committee. They've been involved with having, oh, this is another thing. Frank from the Golf Committee, he mentioned all of the trees that they started cutting back in the rough and clearing up out there. So I thought that was interesting. And then on the Recreation and Parks Committee, mentioned that they're involved in having dead trees removed here at White Horse Park and the swim and racket basketball court area for safety reasons. And they plan to build 2 additional bocce courts. So that's if you play bocce. And finally, the Strategic Planning Advisory Committee. Rob Kiesling spoke. He shared with us that they had conducted that community-wide survey. He was then going to be giving a summary at the board meeting. I don't know if you watched that on March the 29th, and I didn't watch that. So I'm sure they're going to publish whatever information. So that was the executive board meeting, which is right now, once a year, each of the committee chairmen comes in. If there's anything to add to our annual October report, we can do that. And there's an opportunity for us to share and to ask questions. Anyone have any questions about that report that I just provided? All right, I'm going to move on to Mike Johnson. Mike did attend the ENA committee meeting. I didn't know if he wanted to add anything from that.
I'm sorry, I was talking from their agenda,
Mhm.
okay? There was some concern about Coastal Bay still alive. They had contacted them at the time, and Coastal Bay wasn't certain what was going to happen with them going forward. They have a cage too.
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah, they've had it for.
I'm sorry, they had a sign without a cage. Now they have a cage. So,
where do they have that? Is it down at the swimming racket?
Swimming racket.
Okay. How long have they had that, if you know,
Several years ago.
prior to us putting one at the marina?
Yeah, but it was vandalized.
When we were doing all this.
Yeah.
That's why we actually put the cage on D-Dock away from everybody, in the beginning, just to see what would happen with it. Because Joe had actually said, I think it's a bad idea to even do this, because they went through, I think, 2 cages there.
Mhm.
And the kids took them and they took them out. So what they did was they put it in an inconspicuous spot. And I said, when we were doing this, I said to Joe, I said, our purpose isn't to just like stick a cage in the water. I mean, it's good to do, but the whole idea is to tell people where it's.
They can lift it out, take a look at it.
Yeah, that was the idea. So, but they've had it for a couple of years.
They had gotten a lot of questions about the goose control. I think the consensus is the geese were dying because of avian flu, but the testing results hadn't come back yet. I had two in my canal.
Remember you told me that, yeah.
Um,
And what if you see something like that in your canal? Are you supposed to fish it out and then contact some authority?
I wouldn't touch that.
Okey doke,
Yes.
okay,
But we did call, the DNR and
okay.
they said, why are you calling us?
Oh, really?
Well, I don't think that's part of their normal jobs, pull dead birds out of the canal. They have they have newsletters that they put out quarterly, which I thought was really kind of a good idea. They get information together and they send them out.
What do they utilize as the method of sharing that information?
It goes on the webpage,
It goes where we oftentimes have
Yes.
ours, okay.
but they do it quarterly. They were investigating how to put a sign up, but I think that's, that's past old business now. They're not gonna do Bay Day. They have a cleanup day on Earth Day, April 22nd. And they extended an offer for us to help them. I don't know.
And where are they gonna be cleaning up?
They're going to be, they have, their vacant lots in Ocean Pines, and some of them, not all of them, the ones in my, neighborhood are clean, but some of them accumulate a lot of trash. There's also some energy over wisteria. Is a invasive vine. So they would like to cut that out too. And that's pretty much it. Their normal recommendations for discussion about using paper bags for debris, yard debris. And there's also something about using bars of soap instead of your wash that comes in a bottle, plastic bottle. And I think there's also bars of conditioner that you don't have to use it in a bottle either. So I'm just mentioning that.
I know there's a new product out, both for like fabric softener and detergent, which comes like in a piece of a strip that,
For years.
yeah, and I wonder if that's what it is. I know our church is collecting for a mission, and they're asking for us to provide those now, not bottles of detergent and things.
But again, that was just chatter in the group. There wasn't any
Interesting.
follow-up on it or anything, but just they're concerned with environmental things.
John?
I think it's really good that we go ahead and at least find out what they're doing. You did, Mike, and what we're doing is that executive meeting, I believe it's their quarterly letter they're going to print this spring. It's all about the fertilizer and all the stuff that's going into the water, which we had talked about.
Right,
You know,
grass cuttings, things like
It's the
that.
grass cutting, it's all that stuff that goes into our water. I think that's the woman at the executive council had mentioned that they were writing an article about that. And as soon as I heard that, I said, oh boy, we do a lot of the same stuff that they
Right.
heard.
Yeah.
But it's good to at least know that they're doing it instead of telling, okay, Sue, let's write an article about whatever, and they already just put one in,
Yeah.
you know, that kind of thing. So
Yeah,
that's
This-
true.
This one they
Yeah.
put in the quarterly, the Ocean Pines.
Right,
report.
right.
And it's really good because people are always, new people come in there and they see the algae blooms and they're like, wow.
Yeah.
So, I don't know whether they had plans to include that in their newsletter. How do I find out just from,
I would think that each quarter it would be some new,
Yeah.
It's a new topic. Well, a new focus. I think some of these are, they don't go away. There's still issues.
right,
Mhm.
right.
Yeah.
And, Mike, I had communicated with you on April the 9th, and I see till the 8th, and I said, I did ask if you would contact Patricia Benner
Yes.
and find out about the table, so no problem. You're gonna follow up with her.
Have a follow up with her.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right. Anyone have any questions for Mike? Mike, anything to add?
I just had one thing, as I was trying to put this together, some of the stuff is official. It has a history and it has some action items that are coming out of it. But a lot of times the meetings are just, they're chewing on things that are rising up and may not have anything to follow up on. And I'm just curious, going forward with attending other meetings, how much of that detail do we want to put in here? In, you know, when reporting back.
In other words, how detailed should your report that you just gave us today, should it be a written report and then, or how much should Sue put into the minutes? Is that what you're asking?
Yes, yes.
That's a good question.
Because if we're gonna put something into the minutes, then we have to send it to them to review.
Okay.
Hmm.
Then I think we probably,
Okay.
So just.
Sue can highlight-
Yeah, just
highlight
general,
topics.
yeah, Just general.
Yeah.
The sign part was interesting because I think we did a really good job with the sign, you know. But theirs is old and already existed, so that might have been an opportunity going forward to where we can, that's it. When you make one, make two and we'll replace that one. It's over there.
Okay. Anyone, any of the members that are at home or elsewhere have a question for Mike? Hearing none?
No,
Oh,
I have
yes?
I have none.
No? Ken?
No, just doing my taxes.
Sue?
I have a question. Last year, we put in an article in the This Week in Ocean Pines about getting your boat ready
Mhm.
for the season. And it was really well, received. I just wonder if we wanted to submit that again. And it's all just basic,
Discuss it.
Power Squadron type.
I think we discussed it in the winter months and we said, let's do it in the
Yeah, I mean,
spring.
it's all ready to go. I can just update it.
And this would include things like what you need on the boat and if you want to get certified,
Yeah.
who to contact
Yeah,
and things like that.
Yeah.
I always think that's good.
yeah. I
To
just think
remind
it's good to
people.
remind people,
Mhm.
there's all kinds, like the environmental side of things, they have, I think I don't know if it's Coastal Bays or ACT, but they have a thing about, safe chemicals, when you're washing your boat, sort of alternative stuff to the harsh chemical stuff. But I don't think we should concentrate on that. I think just like any new rules that might have come, up, I don't have any.
Like
Maybe
we've done in
Ken-
the
maybe
past.
Ken does,
Maybe
but-
Ken has some
Yeah.
new voting rules that
Yeah.
we do. So
Yeah.
do we want to put this on the May agenda? Or we think we want to move on it
I
now?
think we ought to put it in before Memorial Day. People are starting to get the boats in
All
the
right.
water already. or
Right,
on the
right,
list, So,
Right. And did you want to work on that since you have
I
a lot
mean,
of it
it's
prepared?
already there. I mean, I'm just gonna look at it and see if there's any.
And then do you want to reach out to others on the committee? Or are you asking that anyone that has a suggestion what to add, reach out to you?
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to get it into somebody. I think Josh is not here anymore, so I'm not sure how the procedure.
Okay, so- Just a quick question, Ken, is there anything on the horizon that we absolutely need to share with voters for the new laws, federal, state, whatever?
Well, there's a couple things. A, when it comes in terms of laws, I found that we probably need to register that oyster cage with DNR.
Okay, all right,
Okay,
we'll look
well,
into that.
going over laws now, that's all I'm doing, okay? So when
Okay.
it comes to the oyster cage, DNR requires registration for people that do oysters. I'm not sure if that one cage counts or not.
What about residents that are involved in this, Ken? How's that going to impact them? Can you look into that for us? I'm interested in understanding that a little bit further. Ken, would you look into that for us? Go ahead and get your taxes done today and then get back to us.
I'll be glad to, but
Okay,
anyone that's doing these recreational oysters, I don't believe there's any charge, and I'll bring it up at the next meeting, okay?
okay, yeah,
I do believe that I'll find out, but I do know that I read one of the things I was gonna discuss is, yes,
Okay.
you have to register these oysters. Now, will our one cage count? I don't know, I'll ask them.
and my other thought is, there's probably a difference between what we're doing here and people who are actually farming their own. I would think it would be different, but I don't
I'll find
know.
out what
Yeah.
I'll find out, I'll do what you said, I'll find out if we
Okay.
should or shouldn't.
All right, thank you. I need to make a note to
I
myself.
agree with you, I don't know.
All right,
Number two, you know, we still have the right whale zone in place
what?
in terms of laws. NOAA has still published, we still have the whale zone in front of Ocean City.
All right,
So the slow zone is still in effect,
all right.
Okay.
okay?
Yeah, thank you so much.
And
Something jumped in my hand.
what? I mean, you asked about laws, that's,
Yeah, is there anything else that's relevant that we need right now, do you think? We can save the others. I know you did send me a
no,
long list
no,
of.
no, you just
provisions.
asked me about laws, so I gave you the two laws.
Okay, thank you. Ken, thank you. Anyone have questions, comments, anything to add there? All right, I'm gonna move to the 2025 Volunteer Appreciation Dinner. This is always an outstanding event and we get to meet your wives or your husbands or your significant others. We get to meet face to face other committee members. It is absolutely an outstanding meal and we have a wonderful time. And that will be on Thursday, June the 5th, 2025. Please put that on your calendar. It will be at 6:30 p.m. Cocktails and appetizers, and dinner will follow in the upstairs ballroom.
Or is that July or June?
June the
June.
5th.
Donna, this is Ken. Can I speak about the last issue I had? I just found the information.
All right, thank you. Yes.
Under DNR, product number 365, it is a private waterfront property recreational oyster registration. Okay, and you get it through the DNR, and it's called product name 365. So it's private waterfront property recreational oyster registration.
I'm still thinking it's if people are harvesting oysters to eat as opposed to what we're doing. But if you pursue that, that'd be great.
Okay,
There are currently 120 oyster cages all over the place. I mean,
Yeah.
And this is not.
Okay, well, we'll find out.
I was
Any
just-
other? Go ahead.
Donna, I was just addressing what you said. Any
Yeah,
law?
thank you.
That's
That's
the
good.
law. You know, whether they do it or not, I can't tell you about breaking the law.
All right. So let me continue with the volunteer appreciation dinner. I'm going to need to have a count. And I need the count by May the 23rd. And I need to know if you will attend and if you will have a date for the event. So get back to me with that information and I will follow up in an email when it gets closer,
May 23rd, you said?
May 23rd.
Okay.
All right, I'm going to move on to the next topic, which is committee protocols and information. This was an email that just went out to the committee chairpersons, and Doug Parks asked for feedback from each of us. I believe what'll happen then, once it's been accepted by the board, that we'll get some information on this, but all committees, it talked a lot about the use of Teams to ensure that anyone who could not attend a meeting in person, and we have John, it's good to see you, by the way. I want to recognize John Lee.
Sorry, I was tardy. I was on another call. I just jumped off. Thank you.
That's fine, that's fine. So now, you can see we have 4 people attending the meeting remotely. Doesn't appear we have any visitors from the community, but there's going to be some guidelines and rules for using Teams. So that'll come to us later. Also, there was information concerning the committees, what our obligations are to get information to individuals. The new individual now, it's not Linda Martin, but John, remind me, what's Michelle's last name? We have to send her our agenda and minutes.
Michelle Ross.
Can you spell that, please?
ROSS.
Suspend Robert.
You know what? I apologize. I should have suspended our Robert's rules to ask you questions. So suspended John.
Yeah,
And the
that's
person,
Michelle. Yeah, that's
Michelle
Michelle
Ross.
Ross.
thank
I
you.
didn't mean to blurt it out either. I just
No,
didn't
no,
know.
I was wrong. I should have suspended. So we'll go back on Robert's rules. Thank you for that input. Questions?
Is
Sue?
this instead of Linda Martin or is,
Yes, that was my understanding.
okay. But Stuart is still on, and John, okay,
Mhm.
okay.
So we have a new election. Wanted to make sure I didn't have anything more to add. Michelle's contact information for you is M. Ross, ROSS, @oceanpines.org.
Is it spelled out, Bishop Pines? I don't know.
It is oceanpines.org. And that's contained in that information I gave you, Sue, before the meeting.
Right.
I had contacted Sue. I mentioned that a number of the chairpersons and visitors at the executive board meeting approached me and asked for specific information. Frank Brown asked for specific information. And I believe I gave you his contact, but you can get back to me if you need it. Ken, I remember indicating to you that someone, was it Mike? Was interested in information regarding the 6 mile per hour and no wake. Ken, did I get that to you? Did I email you with that request?
No, I didn't see it. I mean,
Okay.
you might have, but I didn't get it. But I've got.
Okay. All right, I'll follow up then, later today or later in the week. If you don't hear from me, Ken and Sue, contact me to make sure I get that to you.
I have the Frank Brown
Okay,
thing.
and then whenever the season kickoff. Any new business that I didn't go over that we added to the agenda? Do we have any public comments? We don't have anyone in attendance. All right. The next meeting will be May the 20th, and it will be at 10 a.m. And thank you, Mr. Reynolds. He RSVP'd for the dinner.
That's a quick one.
I know. And let's see, May the 20th. And I will be here. Everyone will be here. I would ask that someone please move to adjourn our meeting. John, do I have a second? Michael Reynolds, did you move for a second?
Sure.
All right. All those in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Thank you very much, everyone. And we did that quickly. I would also ask that you contact me by email within the next couple of weeks so that I can work on the agenda for next month. It becomes very difficult when it's Friday evening before our meeting to pull everything together in a timely fashion. I know we're all very busy. So thank you all. And Mike, we'll talk to you and your wife soon, I hope.
Thank you.
Meeting adjourned.
Would it be possible to get the meeting's over?
Oh, can you turn us off?
Turn us off.